YouTube, here's the latest one I've been fixing up. This is, well, it's unbranded and it doesn't look like it ever had a logo on it, but see how it's got this wee extra nibble on the top there, knobble. There's a Hohner branded one on Reverb just now, which looks very similar to this. So it might be, it's either it was a Hohner and the badge is gone, or it was another make, but I think it's the same factory, same guitar. So it's a Les Paul, as you can see. But on neck, doesn't say made in Japan on it. Does that mean it's not made in Japan? I'm not sure. The neck kind of reminds me, see the painting on it, I kind of wondered if it was Eastern European, because I've had a Marlin, I think. It's something to do with the type of wood or something, kind of made me think that. This one does have Goto made in Japan tuners, which actually are definitely not original because they're screw holes from previous tuners, so it's been upgraded. Tailpiece and thingy both say made in Japan on them. Whether the original, I don't know. It's got nylon saddles like a real Les Paul. This one came in, my pal Ronnie, it's missing the, see this inlay was just not there. It doesn't, this one, so I put this one, doesn't quite match the other ones, but I mean, now that I pointed it out, but you can't see it now. Actually it was a scratch plate for what is now that Bucky caster, which was lying on the floor until earlier on. I can't find it now. It was just like that was covered in stickers, and it was like a mother of pearl, and basically the mother of pearl bit was a wee bit sort of picky at the corner, so I just peeled off in one go, like it was just the top layer. So I cut that up, put a couple of bits of plastic behind it, stuck it in. Acceptable. The pickups were corked ones that were in it, but they were so someone's had to go upgrading this at some point. It had real humbuckers in it. It might have had fake humbuckers. I don't really know. Actually, my pal Gordon's bought Greco pickups at one point, and they would have fitted amazing in this guitar, but the guitar's not mine, so I couldn't do that. Because they're gold. Bit of fretwork. The pickups that were in it, it's like the pickup rings didn't fit the holes, but the person had managed to get them to fit in the holes, so they were kind of like this. I mean, they looked hideous. It looked terrible. So these are pickups from a PRS SE, the G&B pickup company, it says on the back. And the other option I was going to do, I was going to put in these, this is my pal Ronnie's guitar, he gave me these pickups recently, Chapman ones, which I thought of putting in it. And I was like, I measured them and so these will be obviously more for metal. They were exactly the same readings as these. Okay, and there's the G&B pickup company in the back as well, which you just have to believe me that it says it is engraved on it, even though no, it's not wanting to show up. But the zebra ones look better, and so zebra pickups. I had to replace a volume control. One of the knobs is it's not a perfect match. Ronnie said he's got a set of these knobs somewhere anyway. I looked through my knob box, I didn't have one the same, so it's just there so I can use it. Yeah. So this would be, it's definitely, whether it is Japanese or not, I can't vouch for that, but it's definitely better than most. There's a huge variance of these. Okay, this one's not black. They're normally black, but there's a huge variance in them. They all look exactly the same, and some of them are actually really pretty good, and some of them are pretty shit. This is one of the ones that's quite good. It doesn't have a hollow top. This has got like a solid top piece on it. It's solid wood. I don't think, no, it's not plywood, this one. But it doesn't, I look quite often these guitars, it's like the body is, if you imagine it's flat top like a Les Paul Jr., and then it's got like blocks placed on it, and then a piece of plywood bent over the top to give you the to make it look like a carved top. But this actually does have a curved top. Got a good bit of weight to it. There's not really much else to say. I'll play some Les Paul. And it's at least, well, 2020, it's at least 40, 35, 50 years old, something like that. So it's got that vintage thing going on. Very nice rosewood. Frets aren't too bad. Yes. Interestingly, the tailpiece, the stop bar is actually almost triangular in shape on the top. I think this is one you could double up and use as, you know, when you've got like just the stop bar. You see it in quite a lot of old Gibsons. You know, it's non-compensated, but because it's kind of, instead of being round, it's kind of a bit more like that. I think you could probably get away with using this as a standalone bridge without the actual tune-o-matic. But so bridge pickup, the tone control now works. Using the VK112 PV, which I'm standing in front of. Neck pickup. Both, and you can mix between them. Try. Put a really bad. Sounds good. Enough clean, rat pedal. shorn. I'll tell you what I've noticed right now. See this strap? My God, it's got a serrated edge. It's digging into my neck, something rotten. Yeah, so I had to cut a new nut for it as well. So new nut. Did a bit of fretwork on it. Gave it a good clean. It needed one. Also, if you're looking at the headstock, you'll notice that this one has a silver nut on the top because it was missing. I think it was actually this one that was missing, but I figured if you put it there, then whoever's playing it will never notice it. So Ronnie will probably never see it again. It's his guitar. So yes, pretty good. The one that's on Reverb's £300, I think. For that sort of money, it's actually not bad for that sort of money. I think you can get them much cheaper than that though. But comparisons to like a Hardy Bastard or an Epiphone or something, it's better. Again, I keep saying this in all these videos. Don't be thinking a bolt-on neck's not a good idea. I've played plenty of Les Pauls with set necks that are nothing like as good as this one. It's more expensive to do a set neck, but a bolt neck it's easier to build, and it's also adjustable. It means also if you smash the neck, you can put another neck on your body, or you can buy an upgraded neck or whatever you want to do. Very similar. It's actually, you notice as well, so it's also got a little bit of a volute going on here as well. So it's like, unlike a Gibson, if you drop this, the head won't just pop off, which is good. And I think it's actually quite a handsome beast. The other pickups I do actually have a set of chrome Epiphone ones, but it's the old mixing gold and chrome hardware, although it kind of looks chrome there. There's a huge difference between, see, like proper gold hardware that's this colour. You know, it's gold, not... You tend to get it, you see it, it's most obvious on Chibsons, when you get this sort of brassy looking gold colour, which looks shit. This looks like proper, it's not, well, it's a proper gold colour. No, I'm not claiming there's any actual gold in it, that'd be silly. But yeah, what else to notice? This has got dots on the edge of the fingerboard. Yeah. But just don't to get these things mixed up, it's kind of hard. I mean, I'm sure somebody must know a lot about these and do, you know, like, if you knew exactly what you're looking for, because I mean, I've just had so many, you know, like Satellites and Hondos and what else, Avon and Grant and blah blah blah. There's so many different companies, depending on whereabouts in the country you are, where they're buying guitars in, and they all kind of look the same. Even though they're normally black, this one's the sunburst colour. But there's a huge variance in them, even unbranded ones. I'm not sure whether this one... I don't see... You would think that if someone had sanded off where it said Hohner, there would be some remnants of it. I don't think there is. This might never have had a brand on it. This might just have been Les Paul style guitar imported from... I don't know. As I said, it doesn't say made in Japan on the neck plate, but the made in Japan neck plate isn't... There's an issue with the made in Japan neck plates. Nowadays, if it says made in Japan on it, then it's got to be made in Japan, or if it says made in America, it's got to be made in America. But in the sort of 70s and 80s, there was a thing with Korean guitars that if it had Japanese parts, you could put made in Japan on it, because it's made of Japanese bits. So that, I mean, this, okay, it's got Japanese tuners which aren't original. It's got Japanese bridge and tailpiece, which, to be honest, I think the bridge and tailpiece put together with the tuners are probably worth 3 or 4 times what money paid for this whole guitar. In those terms as well, you know, he really couldn't lose. I mean, even if he'd bought it and, you know, the neck was like a banana. And I did ditch the pickups. The pickups, I don't know how bad they were. There they are there. They just kind of, you could sort of see how distorted the, you know, once they were screwed in, they were kind of like, you know, they were screwed on sort of like that, and they just looked crap. But these are the three height adjustment ones, which are Cort for cheaper ones. So this, but these pickups aren't original to this guitar either, so it's hard to tell exactly what's original. The neck and the body are possibly a Hohner. The rest could be anything. But the reason I'm thinking about those Cort pickups is it's likely that the pickups in this were quite weak. And if you go back to the 80s, maybe even early 90s, you didn't have Warmans and Wilkinsons and stuff where you can go on eBay, buy a set of humbuckers for, I don't know, 20 or 30 quid and get really good ones. That wasn't really an option. You could buy aftermarket pickups, but that was Seymour Duncan DiMarzio's, so they are 100 quid for a pair, or whatever they cost. A lot of money. So there would be an awful lot more swapping about of pickups. I've bought quite a few guitars, old Japanese ones that have got Gibson pickups in them, because people would buy the Gibson, upgrade to DiMarzio Super Distortions because that was the thing, and then they would have the other pickups and they would sell them in the newspaper. You know, you used to get a thing, it was made of paper, and it kind of opened up like this, and it had a bit with adverts with like text in it where you could have a phone number, you know, like your phone. Actually, like, phones used to be obviously now phones do everything, but there was a time when a phone was like, it was physically attached to your house with a wire, and all it had on it was numbers, and you could only just talk to people. You couldn't look up eBay, and it's like, no, I'm old. I remember phones when that was, you know, you'd have to phone. If you wanted to phone somebody, they had to be in. What, they're at the shops, they're out in the car, and you can't phone them then. You maybe phone them when you get back. So it's a bizarre thing. Thinking about that, and I've always gone over. I was talking to my pal about this last night, about how he fell asleep in the city, woke up at midnight or something. Like, what day is it? What's going on? And I was like, it's very early Tuesday morning. You know, it's like 12:30 at night. What year is it? I was like, it's 2002, and it's like even going back to like 2000 odd. It's like you didn't have the eBay and the instant thing. I was still buying the paper, and you'd look up an advert and you'd phone up about the advert, but the paper came out on, say, the Tuesday, but the advert probably get phoned in on the Friday, and then you're getting it, so you're phoning it, and then obviously if you're trying to sell something and it sells immediately, you're just going to get 100 phone calls. You can't pull the ad because the paper's physically printed. You know, how did we survive? But that's when you used to be able to get, you know, like your Roadstars and your Westtones for like really cheap. But you didn't have any choice. It was if you were lucky enough to have bought the paper from your town or your city, and somebody was selling a Westtone or a Roadstar or something like that, it would be cheap. Yeah. But that was it. You didn't have this now. It's like pure, I quite fancy one of these. You know, you could look it up on eBay. I think there was actually one for sale. These are not common guitars by any means, but you know, you will find one, and it's like that's me get the whole of the world basically to find somebody selling it, as opposed to just locally. So I think a lot of things that happened in the 70s and 80s, and even when I started playing the guitar in the 90s, you basically looked in the paper and you went, oh, a guitar for 60 quid or 100 quid. It's a Les Paul type. I want a Les Paul type. That was the one you bought. You didn't go and, unless you were going to go to the shop and buy a new one, or go to the shop and try the second hand ones, you didn't have, what kind of guitar is it? It's a Hohner, alright. You could look it up on the internet and see what it was, or what anyone else had one, so you could, even, there's less now, but there used to be, even when I started maybe 10 years ago, a lot of people would have a guitar that they bought in the 70s and they didn't even know what it was, because why would you know what it was if you bought it second hand? It's a Washburn, it says Washburn on it. That's all they had. They didn't know what model it was, or what number, or when it was built, or what parts are in it. None of that stuff. Whereas now you just look it up on the internet, it's there. Yeah. Interesting times we live in. But this has actually turned out to be quite a nice Les Paul. It's not going to be as nice once I tell Ronnie about the bill, because it's going to be huge. Not going to be huge. I can't do it for free. You know what I mean? It took me all day, so it's... Yeah, so... rock on, I've no idea what days it's going out. I'm just doing videos willy-nilly. I think I've done 2 or 3 today. And I'll just put them out at some point. That's what everybody else does. If you want current and up-to-date stuff, then... I don't know. Some of my videos will be today's. There you go. Some of them are... Oh, shit, I've not done a video. I've got a video to go out tonight. So, I'm probably not about it. I think it's a Fender Roadhouse I'm going to put out. Rock on. So, distinguishing marks. This wee nibble here. The 4 diamonds. Cool, odd-shaped truss rod cover. See, that's what has made it pretty much definitely that guitar, because it's got the funny truss rod cover, it's got the 4 diamonds, it's got the nibble in the head that says Hohner on it. So that is that guitar. Whether this was ever branded Hohner, it could have been branded something else. It might have had no brand on it. I don't know. Wherever that guitar was built, at whatever factory, at whatever time, is where this one was built, at that factory at that time. But much more interesting than a modern guitar. The pure, as I say, when you're looking up eBay, it's a pure, look up sold listings. Good luck! So, I'm saying if it's a couple hundred quid, 300 quid, and it's in good nick and it works, it's probably a good buy. But it's also one you might find on Gumtree or on Facebook Marketplace for, like Roy did, for 50 quid with bits missing, maybe. And then if you want to do it up, it's worth it. Definitely. Rock on.